Hey y'all, I'm Dr. Ballew, and I'm thinking about systems today. Of course, I think about systems a lot. But specifically, I'm thinking about pie. And I'm thinking about pie as they refer to systems. I mean, we have this idea, I used to teach when I was talking about thinking about abundance versus our humanist and our culture of scarcity. And we always feel like we don't have enough. And as individuals, we have to take more and more and more. Instead of knowing that we are individuals and the collective connected to each other through energy and love. And not to just other human beings, to all of creation. And so that reminds me of that, even in our humanist in our Western civilization, even the most liberal or progressive of us are saying, oh, it's not, we shouldn't be sharing one slice of the pie. There's a whole pie. And, the rich people have the whole pie, and the rest of us are left with this one little slice to fight amongst. And that's the real problem, is our fighting amongst that one little slice of pie. And that's the humanist perspective. But once you step out of that Western and, increasingly common thinking across the globe for the last 3,000 years at least, you realize we're in a pie shop. And for a while I was stuck in that pie shop, realizing there's we're fighting amongst this one little piece of pie in this one pie, when we are actually in a pie shop surrounded by pie impossibilities. But not only that, we can step further back and know that we're absolutely surrounded by all kinds of possibilities of pie. There's all kinds of fruit out here, and grain, and humans to make more pie. In fact, the possibilities are limitless of the kind of pie that we can make. Because we're all connected to creation. Are systems that we've lived under for a long time, that uphold classism, that create poverty. Y'all, humanism, individualism creates poverty, and hierarchies and segregation of knowledge from how to make a pie. You're surrounded by fruit and grain, and you have fire, and you have some sugar, but you don't know how to make a pie. And you're fighting over the cheap-ass pie from the Marie Collender's from the cheap grocery store. That's an old pie. It's moldy, it's gross. I got some strawberries, some blackberries, some mulberries ripe right now in the yard. In a few weeks, I'll have some blueberries. Weeks after that, I'll have some peaches. Right after then, I'm going to have some pear. And then after that, there's going to be some apple. If I were better at keeping up my rhubarb, I'd have some rhubarb right now too. There's all kinds of things out here to make you the kind of pie that you want. So you can be the kind of pie you want to be. And you can be your own pie. You don't have to share it with anybody else if you don't want to. But if you do, you can. If you see somebody that needs some pie or wants to try your pie, then you can. As a queer person, living in this world, and and the government deciding who I could marry, when I could marry, who I could love, when I could love, if I was a human being or not. All these other human beings get to decide whether or not I'm a full human being or not. Well, that meant that, there were like social weddings, and then there were actual legal weddings. And I had a social wedding in 2006, and then had a legal wedding in 2013. And with that legal wedding, it was a small event with just really my wife's family, my ex-wife's family. And afterwards, a few of us went to this place. It was a remodeled church called the Sanctuary. And we each ordered a different slice of pie, based on what kind of pie that individual person wanted, thought that would be best. And then we each took a bite, and then we passed it around. And then we said, well, which is your favorite? And every one of us had a different favorite than the one that we had ordered. And then and nobody had the same favorite. And so we just switched. And we all had the pie that we wanted, that we liked the most. Because there was plenty of pie. And there were plenty of options. We all didn't have to be the same. We all didn't have to have an apple pie, because that's the American way. We got to choose. And we're also, the people that wound up being there were full adults, 3 of who liked to cook. 3, not the same 3, who liked to bake. So in later years, sometimes one of those people would make us a pie on that day. Or we'd go up to a different shop. Or we can make our own. I don't know the overall point or the overall trajectory of life after humanism, which is what post-humanism means. Or I guess we could just go back to, we could call it Native American wisdom, because there's a lot in common between what we're discovering now in our science and what Native Americans, how they lived their lives before we came in and destroyed it all. I don't know where we're going. I just know there's a pie shop, and beyond the pie shop, there's so much fruit in abundance. And God's with us. And this is part of God's plan. So what kind of pie do you want to make? Love y'all.